Hello and welcome everyone to the special Containment Podcast episode. It's an episode, not sure exactly the number, but it's coming out soon. Today we are joined by the lovely Lord Bung.
Hello.
Hello, Lord Bung.
Who else is here?
Me. No one of consequence,
And,
obviously. No, we've got Lowell Foundation. James is here. He's alphabetically lower than me. Just got to point that out. And then we have Dr. Sumerian here.
That's me.
I just to get the structure out of the way, Jake, you're the main asker, right? I mean, we all have questions, but
I am the main asker. Yeah, I will be guiding this procession.
Puts a weird emphasis on that word.
All right, I'm leading this congregation.
there we go.
That much better.
Keep it PG.
Well, PG. Nothing I said was graphic.
Yeah, and that was the problem.
There we go. We'll keep it that way. Oh, you want a graphic? I'll get graphic.
Oh, no.
Oh, you're lucky the webcam's off. Anyway, glad to have you here, Lord Bung.
Yeah.
Gotta just ask, how was VidCon? You enjoyed it?
The convention itself was really cool. I felt a bit out of place, though, I'm not gonna lie. Just because it seems to be mostly vloggers and really pretty LA people, you know what I mean? Yeah, my stuff is a bit niche, so I was mostly there to see other people anyway. But yeah, it was nice. It was one of the better conventions I've been to, just because the center is really huge and a nice warm sun. Yeah, but LA kind of sucks.
Oh, I've heard. Yeah. Now, my sister was there when that earthquake hit, and they literally didn't even realize it was happening. Oh, wait, no,
Yeah.
you were there too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't feel anything.
Damn. What a shame. Or,
Yeah.
Good thing. I don't know. Was there
23,000 people died in that earthquake, and you guys are joking about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad. Sad days. Was there any gamer girl bathwater there, or is that...
No,
recent
there was a
event?
lot of
Okay.
talk of it, but,
Yeah.
you know.
I've debated the idea of
What-
ever going to VidCon, and
Oh, I
you've
thought you were
kind
going to
of-
say, I've debated selling
Yeah, I thought this was going to be
Foundation.
about that, yeah. I mean, you got two guys
hey.
to generate it, so, like,
desperate times.
that's twice
exactly.
as much
We-
money, right?
We can
Pretty
sure
double
that's how
our
it works.
If we share the bath,
Our
I think
output.
that's okay money.
yeah. You have to like scrub some skin cells in there too, though, for legal reasons.
Oh, yeah, we need certain parts per million of skin cells in there.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Sounds
Uh,
like it's just kind of like a vlogger model, weird convention, I guess.
Well, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it seems like the kind of thing that vloggers would really flock to because it's sort of an event that they can show off because that's their whole thing.
I mean, did you have like quality fan interactions or anything interesting other than that?
Not as much as I thought I would, but yeah, it was alright. Just because I had quite a lot in Australia, but not quite a lot in America. I don't know, but most of my fans are apparently in America, so I was just rounding up. I don't know. Maybe it's just because like my face isn't in my work, so I'm not recognizable.
Should have just walked around with a big like Connor mask stuck to your face. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, you should have done some Connor cosplay,
Yeah.
which really just would have been regular D-class cosplay now that I think about it, but...
You should get like a posse shouting "bung, bung, bung," like basically like 10 hours.
I think you'd be kicked out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
they'd
I
understand
don't
what's
know
going
these
on.
people.
No,
They just
yeah.
came out of nowhere. They're not mine.
It's not hot enough for that.
I am
Anyways.
surprised, though. I figured there would be quite a few more who would make the journey.
Nah, I'm not mad. I mean, I would have been like, I really like fan meetups, so I would have been like disappointed regardless.
Like, I mean, we were thinking of doing a fan meetup in New York City when we hit 100K, but I don't know about that
Oh,
now.
Well, I mean,
it'd be
think
nice
about
to
it
meet
from the
5 people.
think about it from the perspective of, see, like the LA VidCon, you're competing, even if you're a big deal, you're competing with other people who are also big deals and much bigger deals. If you do it in a local place, like say you did yours in New York, I'm sure you'd still have, you know what I mean. But like, even if there was a VidCon in New York and you went to it, you'd probably get more recognition than you did in LA, just because it's less centralized.
Maybe. I mean, you have to kind of think of the crossover, the type of people you would have at like VidCon. And again, VidCon, it's YouTube's official thing, so they're pushing the thing that they like quite a bit, which is vlogging and all that goody stuff. So the niche stuff, I think, you know, it might do better, like in our particular clientele, it might do better at just, you know, like maybe Comic-Con sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Your typical sort of
Yeah.
nerdy cons.
That'd be cool.
What you
I'd
guys
love
should do
for
is
there
do
to
a
be,
fan
like, a
meetup
solid-
that somehow becomes part of a video.
Oh no, that would be next level and extremely hard to do. I'd have to give out.
We do a social
million
experiment?
release. Yeah, like a no, not like that.
No, but
I
find
guess it
like an
would be.
SCP that works with a crowd, and then like, yeah, do it that way.
I just see a lot of legal problems with that.
Let's
my
just make
God,
like a
yes.
paper mache Shy Guy and cover him with a blanket and get everyone to meet up around it and be like, guys, take a look at it. And then like we yank it off and start running.
Oh,
And
so
just
like
record
now
the
you're
reaction from
now
three
you're a
different
prank
cameras.
channel.
We just murder pranked
200 people.
32 fans.
So anyway, I do have a question actually for Bung. Maybe we should get back to the guest for a second. What brought you originally to the SCP Foundation Wiki?
Originally, it was actually in high school, like 7 years ago. I don't know, my friend was just showing me some cool stuff, and this concept of the SCP Wiki was super interesting, you know? Like, I think the first SCP I read about was the guy with the planet in his torso.
Oh yeah, Abominable Planet.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, that's neat. That's pretty neat, because it was just like, it wasn't over the top, silly, scary. It was disturbing and sort of cosmic, and I was really into that, and I just kind of read every now and then, until eventually 6 years later, I ended up making Confinement.
Yeah, and you put him in there, if memory serves. I seem to recall at least one
Yeah.
scene with that character.
Yeah. I really like him, and you know, he was my first SCP. He took my SCP virginity, so that was cool.
The natural follow-up, I think, is what is your favorite SCP of all time?
Well, 1730 is kind of my favorite, I guess. It doesn't. I don't think it really counts as an SCP though. It's more like a bunch of logs from MTFs breaking into a building and running into a bunch of SCPs, and I like the story that goes on there. But my favorite SCP itself is the Mesozoic Reserve, the dinosaur one.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that one. I think that's just fun. Just a good, fun concept. Lots of ideas can be made from that.
Were you a big like Dinotopia nerd growing up?
Oh yeah.
No.
I'm actually sort of unfamiliar with that one. Could you give me like a brief rundown? I know Site at 13. I know the other one, but
Well, it's like it's its own sort of pocket dimension in the Congo where dinosaurs live, and all the dinosaurs are peaceful except for a minority of dinosaurs that aren't recognized in the fossil record. They're violent, even if they're herbivores. And whenever a new fossil is discovered that matches these strange, violent dinosaurs, they become peaceful.
it's an interesting concept. I actually kind of like that.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's based off of that real cryptid thing with Africa.
Oh yeah,
I think Vice had a
Mokle
thing about that.
Umbembe. Yeah, the one in the Congo.
Like the weirdest idea there is that, like, it's almost like they want to be found. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking more into, I guess, kind of your profession, you know, animation.
Right.
Overall, how has it been on YouTube? Because YouTube has quite a bit of a, I wouldn't say intentional, but they've got an unintentional vendetta against animators, as far as I can tell.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just business. I mean, I'm trying to avoid getting political, but that is just business. Like, they want more faster work. You know what I mean? Like, more quantity over quality, I guess.
Mhm.
That's just like guaranteed money, and I get it. And you know that YouTube doesn't have a competitor. That's fine. But I'm doing all right. just because I don't think anyone else is doing what I'm doing right now. So, yeah, until somebody else starts doing what I'm doing but faster, then I'm completely ruined. But other than that, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I don't really listen to my friends who are better with YouTube, who know how to get more views or whatever. I just want to chill out and do my own thing. Yeah, so I'm not very knowledgeable on the YouTube area. I just know that it's not friendly towards people like me.
We sort of suffer the same thing, James and I, with our channel. But, we keep pretty in the loop when it comes to what we should be doing. We just kind of ignore it for similar reasons. We have a thing we came in and we wanted to do, and we're not going to be chasing the spotlight, as they say, and try to figure out what's the next big thing. It's just not what
That's my job
here for.
Well, actually,
there you go.
This kind of segues into a question I had that I didn't write down. That you, Bung, literally basically made our channel, because to us, you proved that like doing quality over quantity can still succeed. It can still sustain itself. Sure, you're not like making millions of dollars, but it's possible. Because for a while, I felt personally really disenfranchised when like OniNG, Psychic Pebbles, a lot of really big animators I used to watch completely shit the bed, completely left because of the new like YouTube rules and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you owe Bung how much money out of your ad revenue every month then?
We've been setting that aside. I thought, come on, you weren't supposed to talk about it.
Actually, speaking of money, that actually reminded me of another thing I wanted to ask Bung. Some of your earlier videos included what is clearly copyrighted music, and I always wondered how you managed to get away with that. Is it that they're getting monetized but not for you?
Oh no, I didn't get away with that. Yeah, I just got copyright claim.
Like claim, like takedown, or like I said,
no,
are
not
they
strike,
monetizing it for
not
themselves?
strike. They just, yeah, they get the money. I wasn't interested in money at the time. Now I kind of need to because I pay rent, but at the time I didn't pay rent and I didn't really care, so whatever. But yeah,
fair enough. That was just the thing I remember it sticking in my head because I was watching these. I was like, you used, I believe it was The Wait, which is like one of my favorite songs of all time, and I'm like, how in the world is this in here? But I guess that explains it.
Yeah. Oh, which video was that actually?
Honestly, it might have been your second or third one. I can't remember. It's a song by the band. It was a long time ago, so I don't remember which video exactly.
It's been a while.
I remember the song because, like I said, it's one of my favorites. But
right.
YouTube has a few tools to demonetize without, just taking things down. For the trailer of one of our videos, they just gently siphoned everything away from it. They're like, oh, we noticed that. That's cool. We're just going to sort of take all that money. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of the companies, they're fine with it mostly because they're just more money for them.
Money. They got no issue.
Which one was that?
It was for Red Reality, the trailer. We used Daisy.
Oh,
Daisy Bell. This song's only...
it's like over 100 years old, right?
Over 100 years old. And they're like, oh.
Nope.
Nah. We're taking that.
Probably like not even a correct copyright claim. I even pitched down the music to kind of like try to screw it up, but nah.
You can't fool it. Nah.
You can't.
Yeah,
you can do that fancy thing with the video where you like punch in and put it on like a monitor on the screen and then like invert it to try to play like a movie, but it's getting smart. It's getting able to fight that too.
Yeah, a lot of it's pixel matching, like for video anyway. But for audio, it's a lot more difficult, I think, to actually mess with it.
I also wanted to ask, so you have a lot of very talented people who work with you on Confinement, voice actors, musicians. I was just wondering, how do you get approached with that? Did you approach them to begin with? How did you set up that kind of rapport with these excellent collaborators?
They tend to approach me. Like when I released my first episode, that kind of blew up a bit. I didn't know it would. But yeah, then a lot of people approached me, and I wanted to sort of expand to people who actually had voice acting capability. Because a lot of the people before Confinement were just friends, and it didn't really matter that they were good voice actors or not, because it was just sort of silly videos I did. But yeah, mostly people just approach me. Sometimes I approach them if they have business emails or whatever, and they tend to seem to think I'm legitimate just based on the content that's already out. So yeah, I guess I'm mostly lucky.
We have to desperately hound people down. They're like, hey, this is who we are. Here's his role, yada yada.
We cast a very large net, and we're happy if we get minnows.
Yeah, I reached out to Bung I guess it was probably almost 6 or 7 months ago. I was like, hey, do you need any voice talent of any kind? So no, I'm one of those people who actually did the reaching out thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, is it kind of overwhelming? Is it like an insane amount of people reaching out now?
Not insane. It's just like I don't have like DMs open or anything. They just anyone who's brave enough to tweet at me, I guess.
Uh-oh.
But
Oh no.
You know this is going out, right?
Huh?
You know this is going to be public, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Lord.
I mean, the hardest part is letting them know that I don't really need that voice, at least not right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to do that a lot, which is, uncomfortable, but yeah, that's something I have to do. That's the worst part is just rejecting people, but I don't want to ghost them,
Yeah,
that
no,
sucks.
I literally have the same issue with actors because it is a bit easier getting normal actors for us. And what I try to do so I don't completely forget is I set up like a whole Google Doc. I write their name down, what they want to do, have a picture, and then like whenever we're trying to cast again, I try to like go back to see like, hey, so and so who messaged me 3 months ago, can I include them in something? Stuff like that.
This is again, of course, assuming that what they're, you're not just trying to let them down gently. It's like, hey, this person's actually talented. I just don't need them right now, as opposed to, that was nice. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I would probably just let them know that your voice acting is good, but your microphone isn't so good. So like, that's not their fault, I don't think.
Yeah.
No.
I've had that kind of problem because when I write SCP, sometimes I like to include audio elements. And I used to do a little bit of collaborative work with some people. I've even been working on some voice stuff for a video game recently. And their first major question was, yeah, but what's your audio equipment like?
It's pretty much one of my first questions, too, when we're looking for voice actors. It's like, hey, what gear do you have? And
I just ask for a
screen it
demo
out.
reel, usually.
Yeah. Although I've had issues with that. Maybe it's because I live near New York City, where there were definitely a couple times I remember where I asked for demo reels and they sounded good, and that was only because whatever job they did, they were brought into a studio. It wasn't their actual own mic and stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't think, is there much of a film scene, at least like where you live?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, damn.
I don't have one composer. I get quite a lot. Yeah, I suppose like most creators would have a composer or maybe just two, so that there's a sort of consistency throughout the series. But I reach out to as many as possible in the hopes that I could find one that I really, really like. But so far, every episode has had a completely different soundtrack. So
It's pretty good regardless.
well, thank you.
It's like one of the
Next
more
question.
memorable things about your videos is definitely the score, like the music. Everything about the sound is always amazing. Animation as well.
Okay,
let's
well.
not discount that, obviously, but just the thing that I remember about it is, like, I see a lot of great animation on YouTube. It's rare to see that wedded with good writing and good sound. So,
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I think I definitely see I feel like I saw a pretty noticeable improvement with sound design, especially as I started kind of paying more attention to it myself, since that's something I feel like me and Jake are not the best at, so to speak, and we're like trying to
Right.
improve with that. But yeah, definitely, like, I literally hate doing Foley. I hate doing like adding sound effects that's not naturally recorded and all that stuff.
I remember when I was first starting to try and build my channel, that was one of the things. And yeah, a lot of the lessons they give you is pretty much useless. But one of the things they said is that if you want to seem like, if you want your quality to improve, increasing the quality of your audio is generally the best way to do it, because people immediately from like second one can tell the difference between good and bad audio.
Oh no. My issue is I think, oh, this isn't too loud, and then you get like 20 comments being like, holy shit, my earphones are bleeding. And I'm like,
You're listening.
yeah.
I don't know how you listen to them.
No, but like,
yeah, like
I'm even looking at the levels and making sure they're not peaking. They're not peaking, and it's like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I know what you're referring to. It was loud as hell, and it's shocking to me that it didn't peak.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean,
now it
we've
goes
had
lower
these
now.
audio issues, I think, 3 times now. It's notable that we've had an audio issue.
What was the
Once
third
it
time?
was,
I know it was
Cup
red,
of Joe was one of them.
red and painting too. Yeah.
Cup of Joe. Painting, we somehow didn't mirror the
Oh,
audio
man.
for
Yeah.
the voice actors, so they were coming in the left channel, and we still get, I think, maybe 20
Cringe.
messages a day.
Yeah.
Just like, did you know that they left channel? Don't do it. I can't hear them.
Well, actually, yeah. Now that your channel is pretty big, Bung, do you really not read that many comments? Because I know it can definitely get overwhelming.
Every now and then I go in to see like I suppose the most agreed upon comments, because that's a pretty good, I guess, gauge of what the general opinion is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I can't read through all of them just because there are too many, and that would probably drive me insane. And I will only ever focus on the negative ones, so that's not good for my brain.
No. Yeah, I definitely, you get that where you read 20 positive comments and it's like no reaction. And you get like one shitty comment. And
It's just flipping. One guy angry, like, oh, yeah, let's see what videos you made. And I look through them, I'm like, oh, this dumbass. Oh, you like this guy, huh?
I do the other thing. I usually like I do sometimes go all the way, like I'll just have some free time and I'll go through a video's comments all the way, and the bad stuff I'm always like, whatever. But then I see the good stuff and I'm like, yeah, that reconfirms how great and awesome I really am.
I've
There's
also
occasionally
What's up?
there's
You go.
occasionally that perfect moment where you see like a comment that is so bad, so like hateful, that the only thing you could do is actually love react it so that everyone else sees it, and then they just start abolishing the guy.
Yes.
They just start ripping him.
I know
to
that.
shreds.
Yes, I've done it before. It's pretty hilarious.
I love when I see it on like other videos. I'm just looking at one person's like, "What a stupid waste of time! I hate this," and it's got like 500 like thumbs ups because the guy just like put it up there, and then all the comments are him just getting destroyed.
Honestly, though, like I have so much respect for a negative comment that is crafted well, or like an insult that like really digs deep. Just you gotta respect the game, man.
I have the exact opposite reaction, to be honest. It's just more of like, this man sat here for probably 30 minutes writing this essay of hate.
I hope that he had the video playing, because then we get that, that helps with
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Full playtime.
He rewatched it 3 times to like break down everything he hated about it. I'm like, yeah, by all means.
Actually, do you have any episodes that you just personally just not hate, but are not like happy with it?
Of Confinement?
Or just in general?
Yeah, honestly, there are some Bung Chronicles episodes I took down just because I thought like, nah. But Confinement, I mean, there are loads of things I wish I could rewrite, and re-edit and reanimate, but they're up there, and if I keep doing that, then I'll never get anything done. So, yeah.
I've always
There are like certain bits I didn't realize I messed up, like because when I do rewrites, sometimes I forget that I do this thing with scripts where I might write a joke earlier on in the episode that's meant to pay off later on in the episode, but if I have to do a rewrite that results in one of those halves being taken away, then I notice it later when I upload the video. I'm like, fuck, shit.
The
Okay, well, now
callback
this
that
makes
calls
no
back to
sense.
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's happened maybe twice now, and yeah, I just get like, I get really obsessed with writing the script, but then I get exhausted and I couldn't just reread it all.
It's like
So
every JoJo
you're the only
season.
person? Are you the only person who has basically any kind of editorial control of your scripts?
No, episode 1 and 2, it was me completely. Beyond that, I gave it to some other people who also write stories. And I thought, yeah.
Sim now kind of writes for us, which is pretty lit.
Yeah, I'm
Actually
basically
really
like
like
act as sort of writer / consultant for some of your stuff.
I thought you were about to say slave.
Well,
I felt you trying. No. We have you under contract. You can't say it.
no, you don't.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh,
No. We
There
have
are
no Lauer here.
there
I thought
are
you got the contract.
there are people who pay me. You're not one of them.
No.
Oh, shit.
Cut his wire.
All right, another question for the Bung man.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into animating? Like, why choose, in my opinion, literally the hardest art form?
I don't think I'm particularly good at, like, I don't think I'm really, really good at any one thing in particular. I think I'm pretty good at a few different things, and animation gives me the excuse to do all of those things. So, like with music and reprises, I really like musicals, and I really like how music is used to tell a story. But I'm not a singer or a musician, so if I made a animation, then I can get a musician to make it for me, and I could tell them what to do. I could tell them, hey, can you take this melody and have it reprise later in a different tone? And I like creating environments, I like creating world building, I like creating conversations, and whether I like it or not, and I think every creator is like this, I want to be able to project myself into my work so that, you know, like deep down, I kind of want people to see me, you know, or understand me to a degree. And yeah, animation's a great way of doing that, I think.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of the stuff you mentioned is the same reason at least I got into film, but I guess I like the collaborative aspect. I guess I never realized it till later. I mean, you talking now, animation is a lot more collaboration than I think. I feel like people usually think it's just a man sitting at his computer scrolled away for like 10 days drawing.
Yeah, I mean, that mostly is it, but yeah.
No.
It's definitely an important part of it. But yeah, there's definitely something greatly satisfying about collaborating on just a singular thing. You know, with both animation and film, you have a lot of people that need to work together and be on the same page to really put out something that works. And I'll say that I think Confinement does that really well.
Oh, thank you. I need to work better on being more collaborative. I'm a bit possessive, I think, which is a problem. You know, I do need to be more open. Like, it took me so long to try and let other people read the script before I went on. It was I don't know. I don't know what's up with me, but yeah.
You know, it's not ubiquitous. It's not universal, but that is sort of common amongst creative types, the idea that it's got to be the way they see it in their head and it can't be any other way.
Yeah, it's just that I feel like I mean, I guess part of it is insecurity that, oh, what if my work isn't good enough? But another part of it is I'm not a super organized person, so when people look at my notes and my script, they might not understand what this means, whereas I know exactly what this means, you know. And I feel like that'll just be a real long task of trying to get them to get it. It's like the reason I don't have any other animators is because the way I animate is so non-conventional that there's no way any other animator does it the same way. And yeah, so
I will say I've encountered this before working with other people. I'm not really one of those kinds of writers, but I have worked with those kinds of writers. And after enough collaboration, like certain partners that you work with long enough start to get kind of a shorthand understanding of exactly what you mean by, you know, like you said, with your notes that only you really truly understand. Like after you get them around the first or second try, they'll start to understand what you're thinking most of the time.
Yeah. I'm good with sharing my scripts now. a big task would be trying to get other animators to help, just because it's so unorthodox and embarrassing the way I do my animation.
Just to change the topic a little bit, I have I know that a lot of people are probably curious about your interactions with the SCP Wiki. I am curious, what about the setting do you find particularly attractive for creating content?
It's almost like the regular show. Do you watch the regular show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's such a simple, almost mundane setting, but it has so much hidden underneath, you know what I mean? It's not like Adventure Time, and I love Adventure Time, but it's not like Adventure Time where it's in a fantastical world and everything is whimsical and explosive and colorful. It's more like everything is very adult and normal and kind of boring until something happens, and then, you know, the mask slips and everything is revealed, and there's loads and loads of terrible things going on behind the scenes, or wonderful things, you know. And I think that makes more sense. Like, I'm not a very outwardly colorful and spectacular person, but I think that I think the best things you kind of have to pry to get to find out. And I think the SCP facility is kind of perfect because it's just a big gray building of block rooms and cells, but in them, you know, inside of them, inside of their personality, inside of their character, you can see where the real interest lies in, you know? And that's kind of what Connor's meant to be. He's not meant to be a bright, loud, fun person. It's completely in relation to his character and his personality and his relationships and his secrets that make him interesting.
Do you ever see an end to Connor's story in the long-term future?
Yeah. I have all the episodes written out.
Oh, okay.
I was actually going to get to that.
Oh, sorry. The other more eventual question, I suppose, is that once you're done with Confinement, have you ever thought about the possibility of actually writing the character as an SCP?
Yeah. Yeah, or I'll get somebody else to do it, because I don't know how to. But yeah, I can definitely see that. Not anytime sooner than episode 10, but yeah.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I've actually considered, like, 2 or 3 times when I was first watching it before I ever talked to Bung, I had briefly considered writing it as an SCP, because I don't know, Bung, if you know, I'm also an SCP author. I've got about 100 articles on the wiki right now. But I had considered it, and then I thought, nah, it's his thing. Let him do his thing, like, you know.
Yeah, it's also like super non-canon.
Yeah, but you can fit it in. Like, there is no canon, so.
There is no canon.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah. Jake, you had a question or something you said you were going to follow up with, I think?
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to mention, I don't remember where I read it or heard it, but I know at some point, I think you did say that there was a clear and definitive end to Confinement. And I wanted to kind of just ask, you have sort of these rules with Confinement, I'd say, where you do have a clear start and finish, a story that you want to tell. I believe you have potentially some rules when it comes to the SCPs that you show.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like some you will not show, or you don't feel like they really belong in the setting that as you're portraying it, and you're free to create your own SCPs. You've definitely done it before, or you used the word inspired a lot.
Yeah.
That way you can just kind of do what you do and not have to face the furious typing of thousands of critics.
Yeah.
At what point did these rules sort of manifest, and when did you? I guess when did you know you had a certain path for the whole thing?
Well, the rules and the path are kind of separate. The rules first manifested when I did my first episode, where I decided that drawing hands for Ferdinand the Cannibal was too difficult, so I gave him a big elephant stompy feet. And because of that limitation, because I wasn't, that was like my first time properly animating something, that kind of set a precedent for, hey, I'm allowed to take liberties here. I'm not, who's gonna get like super mad. And the only people who are super mad are the kind of obsessed fan that I don't really care for anyway. And the Path started, I think, in episode 2, because episode 1 I wasn't planning to make a series. I was just like, here's a short, here's a pilot of something, maybe, I don't know. And yeah, and then I started planning, and the ending and the story has changed like a million times since I started writing it, so who knows, it might change again.
You know, as someone who is literally a professional actually guy, I'll tell you, most of those people who want to correct you, about in-canon things, surprisingly are very wrong themselves, so it usually doesn't matter at all.
Oh yeah, no, we've gotten those people. Yeah, a bunch.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just kind of smile and wave.
Like, they're so certain that you're wrong, and they haven't even realized that they have no idea what they're talking about. It's great.
Yeah, I just don't think accuracy, like, whenever I watch a movie and there's like it's based off a book or something, and I'm watching it with friends who are like, that's not accurate to the book, but the movie's good anyway. Like, I don't think it really matters where's the value in it being accurate to the book if the movie does its job perfectly, you know what I mean?
And not just that, but the SCP Wiki is completely different than that. Like, so Dr. Sumerian is a character on the SCP Wiki. He's about 40 or 50-ish articles worth at this point. The important part is he's died in like 8 articles. Like the one you mentioned earlier, Site 13, he dies in that one. He's died in 8 different articles. So it's like, he still exists. They still write new stories about him, but that doesn't mean that. So, you write something about him and someone's like, that's not true about Dr. What the fuck you talking about? He's dead.
Yeah, it's too big and too collaborative of a concept to have such a strict and holy canon that, fans get really bogged down in.
I think literally,
which is why I love it, which is why it's so fun. It gives me
Right?
the excuse to take liberties.
You can just do your version of a story, and that's that.
Yeah.
It's hard to find such a malleable, like, I guess, like fandom, or I don't know what you'd call community structure.
Yeah, like everybody in the facility in my canon doesn't give a shit. Like, they're so careless and stupid. Whereas I read so many SCP logs and entries and interviews, and a lot of these scientists are very professional and smart and actually care about people and the SCPs themselves. So I clearly am making my own universe where everyone who's supposed to be smart is stupid. You know?
Your stuff reminds me, and this is gonna sound bad, but actually it's an incredible. I've written in the canon myself. The Lowell Foundation canon is very similar to the kind of foundation that you portray. Not exactly the same, but similar enough. So there's already precedent for that.
I'm not actually familiar with that one.
Yeah, I haven't heard of this.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Let's see. What's the preface for that? It's that I think a reality bender accidentally gives reality altering powers to the senior staff, so they like live out their fantasies of doing stupid shit. So it's like the
okay.
Dr. Clef writing, or it's not Dr. Clef, Dr. Bright writing as 682 through the site or whatever is just in his mind. That's what he wanted to do, so that's what happened.
Nice.
I see. A big actual inspiration from the SCP Wiki to help me write Confinement was, I think it was an anomalous security camera that when they record events that occur in the facility, it transforms it into a cheesy 80s sitcom. And I love that one so much. It's just like it loads and loads of cliches and people saying the dumbest shit. It's great.
Shit, I want to do that one now. Damn.
It's
I mean,
so
is that
good.
So that's a real I don't recognize it, but that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's like a -J or not, but yeah, it's it's like a oh no, 682 is breaking out of containment. Oh, we'll find a way to get him in. And then it just immediately cuts to him back in containment. He's like, well, that could have gone better. It's so stupid. Yeah, and like a canned laughter and everything.
That'd be a great April Fool's video.
my
We're
God,
like,
that'd be
guys, we finally did it. We're doing our Containment Breach episode. And then just that.
Like a minute and a half long. It's just like 682 just breached containment, and then just perfect. That would be great.
It's like a 3-minute intro, all musically done. You know, all the scientists of fame, all the SCPs are introduced, and then it's just like, then it just shows the living room and they're all dead.
I really wanted to do a short video for April Fools, but it's long past April now.
Yeah.
But so many people are making comments and replying to my tweets saying, like, wouldn't it be so cool if Connor and SCP-682 were in a room together? And I'm thinking, no, that wouldn't be cool at all. That would be boring, because they both can't die. And yeah, so, like, I'd like to make one where they're just in a room and they're not doing anything for, like, 2 minutes. And just commenting on how stupid an idea this was.
I feel like they could become really good friends, you know?
Yeah.
They have a lot in common. They're the only two who would understand each other. Like, man, this life sucks. You know, they just keep trying to kill us, right? They try to keep the man down.
Despite all the tests failing, there's nothing that explicitly says that 682 can't die. Like, they haven't succeeded yet. That's the...
But also just like a big thing with using the bigger SCPs is that people are particularly, you know,
they get their own
about
idea,
them.
yeah. Like if you killed 682, people would, they would be like, he can't die. What are you talking about? Even though that's, again, not true, but...
Yeah. Well, yeah, people will get upset regardless. I could just have him in there for 2 seconds and people will get upset, so I don't want to. It's not like my series isn't like a fan service for seeing your favorite SCP animated. It's my own thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I still kind of like what we did for April Fools. People kept asking for 173, so we just did a literal peanut. And, surprisingly, no hate.
You two saw mine, right? I did You're Wrong About Everything, Carl.
Oh, yeah. I saw that one, yeah.
Yeah. Specifically about those Crocs with socks that you just linked a picture of. You fucking monster.
I'm going to throw that in the video.
I can't believe I'm being attacked like this. I just told you that I received death threats for this photo.
You deserve them.
I'm receiving even more. Oh my lord.
You deserve worse.
A man is entitled to any fashion in the comfort of his home. I assure you I didn't take it outdoors, okay?
There are crimes too dark to be redeemed from, and that is one of them.
There are only a few situations where shaming is appropriate, and I feel like these are one of them.
I think the comments will find me as the victor here. I think I'll be defended.
Yeah?
I'll be
you really do?
I don't know. This is gonna be like exploring
things.
series saying I don't like memes. You know, I think it's like almost on the same level. I don't think the masses will agree.
No, that's different. I love memes.
Yeah.
That'll save me.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think I'm wearing the Crocs? Give me a break. I'm on a different level. I'm on like tier 10.
Then okay, there were. I'll have to get a picture later, but there were some amazing sunglasses that Jake convinced me to wear, and it was definitely worth it. Think like 80s, like 80s Terminator intense glasses, like bigger than.
You had no desire to wear it. You would have rather gone blind by the sun than wear it. But you
won me over.
Came around.
Yeah.
You came around. Yeah.
It's like one single piece of like sunglass material, no frame. Yeah.
Probably not polarized.
Oh well.
Let's reel it
do
back
what
in.
You can do. Yeah. I have another art-related question. Actually, okay, yeah, I have another one. I got two right now. For me personally, when I write, I find that having like visual art or locations or things like that really help kind of inspire ideas. What's like kind of your mojo? What's like how you get inspired or try to brainstorm?
Most of my ideas come when I'm either on the bus or I am about to sleep. I get most of them from there, yeah.
Oh, do you mean like the twilight between like right when you're about to fall asleep and your brain is kind of going crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, when you lay down. Whenever I lay down, I can't go to sleep immediately. I just sit there for a few hours. And yeah, my brain, I guess because the lights are off and my imagination just starts, so yeah, it's there. I'm trying to think of something.
My issue is like when I do that, the shit I come up with is just like too out there, in my opinion, to formulate into a story.
A few times you've attempted to put pen to paper. You did that thing with like a goat. Wasn't that a dream? Or
Oh yeah, that was weird.
That was terrible.
Really weird.
You were like, it's symbolic.
It's just weird. It's like in dream symbolism where it's just like sloppy, kind of all over the place kind of shit.
See, I had a dream recently that I thought I could turn into an SCP. And I'm actually probably going to write it because it seems like such a simple idea. I think I might have told you two already about this, but it was, I dreamed that I was able to fly, but I was too fat to fly quickly.
Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
So I just I'm going to write an SCP. It's very simple. It's just a guy who can fly, and the Foundation keeps him in containment by making sure he stays fat because he can't fly while he's fat. That's it. Simple.
Does he just have like a Twinkie addiction or something?
I think what they're going to do is like give him a lifetime supply of X food from somewhere, like some junk food, and like keep an eye on him. They don't even keep him in a box. They just let him, live a normal life. He's slightly lighter on his feet than normal, but that's about the only difference.
I really think of I think Jake's the only person who can really reference this, but there's a web serial called Worm, and there's this like hidden organization called Cauldron, and basically what they do is they superfish. So like people naturally can get powers after a traumatic event.
Wait, hold on. Wait, spoiler. Huge spoiler.
Right. Anyway, I'm just gonna say there's a secret organization called Cauldron that's very similar to SCP, kind of, not really. Read that web serial. It's free. It's online. I think any SCP fan are gonna like it. There goes my potential conversation, but yeah, it is a
wonderful. It is a really wonderful take on like superpowers and superheroes. It really grounds it. It makes it a lot grittier. It sucks. It sucks having powers.
Yeah.
And it sucks the implications of what can happen. You're putting yourself out there. It starts off really the main character goes into like crime, like a super villain instead of being a superhero.
She tries to be a superhero, and then it goes wrong.
She tries to be it, but things get a little wonky. But it's interesting to see how it affects both sides, and it's just a wonderful series that I still haven't finished.
Extremely underrated. Extremely.
Yeah, I've been reading a comic series quite similar to that called The Boys.
The Boys.
Oh, that's coming out on Amazon.
I think I heard about this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch that when it comes out.
Oh, I'm interested. Yeah, it's really, really edgy though. It's really dark. Really.
Yeah,
gritty.
I read the plot synopsis because I always spoil things for myself before I worry about consuming the fiction. So I've actually read the plot synopsis for the entire comic already, and I'm like, wow, this seems really interesting. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it when it comes on.
After Slaughterhouse 9 and Worm, it's hard to really fuck me up more than that. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm interested though. Yeah. My other question: what influenced your art style?
It was mostly a friend I have in Canada is directing a cartoon called Super Science Friends.
Oh yeah.
And I've been
Wonderful show, by the way.
I've been like a huge fan of them for a couple of years now, and yeah, sometimes we collaborate. Like he voices in Confinement sometimes, and I voice in Super Science Friends in an episode. And their style I really enjoy. It's also good reference for animation because I'm learning from the ground up, whereas they're professionals. So yeah, I followed the similar rules, like the box bodies and the way the running works, and the way the necks and the head join together, and the hands, how they move, and all that. But yeah, stuff like that, like regular show, just kind of simple, accessible cartoon style.
Mm-hmm.
When you were growing up, what was your favorite cartoons?
Oh boy. And like SpongeBob, I guess. Just like nothing notable because I was a kid, so I didn't have taste or anything. It was just whatever was on TV.
What about like anime?
I guess like a couple of Studio Ghibli movies I really enjoyed. There are some anime I really like. I just can't remember them right now. No, I could only think of anime that I didn't like.
Even like recently?
Yeah, I'm trying really hard right now. I love watching anime that I don't like, which is a problem.
Oh no.
It's weird because when especially now, I'm not saying that you guys are much younger than me. I know you probably at most are maybe somewhere less than 10 years younger than I am, but a lot of what I consider to be kind of kids growing up at that particular generation got into anime a lot more than I did because I grew up in the 90s, which anime was still a thing, but it wasn't like a culture thing that had really taken hold. So I'm more into the Western animation than I am into anime. So it's always interesting. I got into like Toonami at like late 90s.
Oh, yeah, Toonami,
had
yeah.
I think it was Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, and that was the only anime I think I ever actually watched all the way through. Everything else I just wasn't. Dragon Ball Z was on. I remember that. That's about it.
I feel like Ava was the first big one that really hooked me in because it was like, what the fuck? Like literally none of this could exist in the shit I normally watch, at least on American TV.
Okay, actually, Over the Garden Wall, I really like that.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I appreciated that later when I was like an older teenager.
Yeah.
Young adult. Yeah, Over the Garden Wall.
That's like a great example of a cartoon amazing using like music extremely well. Like I literally still listen to the music to this day.
Oh, I love them.
Adventure Time kind of does it, but I feel like it's not as consistent.
Yeah.
What about like Steven Universe or like more recent shows?
I watched it for a bit and I enjoyed its aesthetic. Well, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it took itself a lot more seriously than I think I enjoyed. I don't know. That's just
I
me.
never got around to watching it, but a lot of people have really sworn by it and that they enjoy it. So
I like Adventure Time more personally, but I like weirder, kind of more out there stuff. It's definitely not as dark.
Steven Universe. Is it Steven Universe, right?
Yeah, it's the chubby kid.
Yeah,
with the
it definitely
diamond on his belly.
brings forward it built up a crowd pretty quickly. I feel there's a lot of people who are.
Yeah, it was
quite
super
big fans
popular
of
in the
it.
SCP writing community. I'll tell you that for sure. Like it was constantly talked about. Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah, I think it has a lot of really good messages, and I think good role models. I just don't know. I didn't really. It took really long. It went for a lot longer than I think it needed to be, and I don't know. I don't know.
You know, I was just thinking.
I like
that
it,
the
though.
only modern animation that I actually watch is Archer, and yes, I'm one of those people. Rick and Morty.
Oh, I
Yeah.
knew it. I knew you had a big brain.
But
Yeah, I really hate the stigma attached to Rick and Morty because Rick and Morty.
Oh, I know. No, they did it
because
dirty
like the
to it.
fandom
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
it seem worse than like it's this terrible thing, but it's actually amazing if you're not one of those assholes.
The Szechuan
Yeah.
tragedy.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm gonna just
Yeah.
scream Pickle Rick, jump on the counter, and start letting my Szechuan sauce fly out. They just,
man.
I mean, oh man, I'm kind of. That's what it is. Like you have to, if you really like Rick and Morty, you gotta hide away and just gather with the other people, the true fans. We're gonna gatekeep Rick and Morty.
See, I've been a fan of Dan Harmon's stuff since before that. I watched Community all the way through, 6 seasons in a movie. But like,
Oh man, I loved his apology.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I love Rick and Morty, but it does have it's such a common approach to sci-fi is like the cynicism, you know, which I like, but I didn't want to do that. It seemed like such an easy decision to do with Confinement, but
of course,
I didn't want to do
with
that.
science fiction, you get both ends of the spectrum. I mean, you get, well, I don't know about modern Star Trek, but like Star Trek up until say Discovery was very, very optimistic. And then you get your science fiction that's super super cynical too. So there's a good mixture of all that out there.
If you guys want to really see what Star Trek is about, and kind of like, man, I can never stop gushing about Deep Space Nine.
Oh my god, I love it.
It really is. They took Star Trek, which is again very optimistic and very kind of campy and all this stuff, and wonderful. But they really started introducing some real shit.
Right, they managed to mesh the two. You know what I'm saying? Like, it still has that optimistic feel to it, but it also mixes it with earned cynicism. So it works so well. I'll tell you though, modern times, the best Star Trek series out there right now is the Orville, and it's not actually Star Trek.
I heard about
really,
that.
really
Yeah.
good. Like, I mean, it's not perfect all the time, but if you're looking for like classic Star Trek style stuff, watch the Orville. Period. End of story.
Oh wait, I thought you were joking. Oh no.
Oh.
I've never heard of this.
I have heard this before.
Are you
though.
talking about?
Yeah, the Seth.
Are you
For
talking
real,
about
yes,
Seth
I'm not
MacFarlane?
kidding
Yeah.
either.
Oh wait, actually,
I'm not
that
kidding.
thing?
Like,
Oh my
it is
God.
actually very good.
I've never seen it, but I will say that from what I've heard, people are like, it's a nice love letter towards the original.
Oh yeah,
Star Trek.
like the people who work on it, like he's got the direct. He's had Jonathan Frakes and LeVar Burton do directing for it. All sorts of people who are involved in the original, like, Next Generation era Star Trek stuff are involved in either the writing or behind the camera.
That's
It
interesting.
is really very close to it's close to Next Generation style. Like, that's the.
Yeah, I'm sure it, like, in spirit is great. I just find Seth, like, really unfunny.
it's just so easy to
Yeah,
jump on.
I'll tell you that.
jump
Like,
on the
yeah,
concept
don't
and
don't
be
don't
like,
worry about it
yeah.
being funny. It's got its funny moments because it's a Seth MacFarlane thing, but like it's got its own
No.
identity, and it's one of those things. Is like, if you're looking for like a pure comedy, after the first few episodes of the first season, it's really not that anymore.
Okay.
I mean,
So
it's
it's not
still
even trying to
funny,
be a
and there's
comedy.
still definitely jokes, but it's like it's hard to explain it. You just got to watch it, I guess is the best way. And I highly suggest that you do. Like, if we're talking about Star Trek and getting back to that optimistic feeling,
Okay.
that's your best bet right now.
I think you could
All right.
also probably just watch Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space
which
Nine holds up, yes.
You can recommend too. It holds up so well. It is probably like the most modern Star Trek in terms of the shit that they deal with. It's a slow start, like a lot of the series are, but it actually is like
Yep.
every other Star Trek is kind of like Creature of the Week or whatever. It's a little different story each time. Some of them continue, but Deep Space Nine has a strong through narrative that goes.
Deep
to-
Space
through the
Nine's
whole
first
thing.
season.
It's really
Deep Space
cohesive.
Nine's first season is definitely the weakest, but it also has Duet, which
Yep.
is probably one of the best episodes of the entire series across
It is
all
really
the
good,
possible
yeah.
series.
No
So-
spoilers.
Not gonna spoil
Yeah, I'm
it.
not
It's
gonna-
very
yeah.
early
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
And
but,
then like the finale is really good
the-
too for the first season, and then it's by season 2 it starts to pick up and it just gets better from there.
it is pretty easy to hop into if you've never watched a Star Trek. I came from the Next Generation, which in itself is it's a slog in the beginning, but then you get some cool stuff. For me, like the only way I would have been able to get through Star Trek, the only way I did it was I was sick as shit, and I was like bedridden for like a week. So I'm like, well, I got nothing else to do. I got Netflix, and I just sort of after watching it, I'm like, I like this enough that I'm gonna maybe watch like an episode a night before I go to bed.
The first season of Deep Space Nine is weaker than the rest of the series, but that's only in comparison. Like, if you compare it to the first season of The Next Generation, it's far superior. Which is not saying much. First season of Next Generation is actually really crappy. But
It's fucking racist. they've got some proper racist shit in there.
one or two
There's some
seasons
things
actually.
that they
but-
never
Really?
deal with. Yeah, no, it was not a good time. Definitely not.
we found something we can all geek out about at the exact
All
same
right.
time, apparently.
I'm tempted to cut this off because I've sat down, and while I enjoy them, Jake can rant about Star Trek for hours.
You don't have
I
to
can't
cut it
believe
off. You just have to come up with another question, friend.
Like, this can't be like Eckert's Ladder podcast.
No, it's gonna
2.0.
be.
Remember, the whole point of this is that we have discussions. Like, it's fine to ramble on for a little while. Yeah, cut it off if you got a good question.
I know, but I don't know if me and Bung are as entrenched in the Star Trek as you guys are.
I don't know
Yeah,
what a
what
Star
is
Trek
that?
is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's when you don't like Star Wars.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Firefly: The Next Generation. Just gonna
I've-
throw that out there.
I don't think that's
Oh,
ever
you
happening.
poor soul.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's gonna
It's a
happen
sad dream.
one day.
At least you'll get your Rick and Morty.
It's gonna happen one day, I'm sure. I watched Firefly when it was on
make
television.
it
I'm one of
happen.
those guys. I'm a Firefly hipster. I watched it before it was popular.
Oh, damn.
I watched it get preempted.
We got a
I watched it
prehistoric
get
fellow here.
preempted by
I know.
basketball. I watched it get aired out of order. Fucking Fox.
They did that to Legend of Korra, I believe. They just started
Yeah, they
shifting
did,
that away,
but-
and they're like, you know what? Let's just put it on the website.
But it's okay, because after season 1, it kind of
Yeah, no,
went
it
down the
kinda-
shitter for a while.
Anyway,
Yeah.
James, I think you were saying you had a question.
Yeah, I have one. It's kind of a dumb question.
It is.
It's not the one you're thinking, Jake. It's
Oh,
not the one
okay,
you're
good.
thinking. I don't
Maybe
think I'm
it's
asked
not
that
that
one.
dumb. You
'cause
shouldn't. It's
I'm
stupid.
embarrassed now.
God, now I want to know what that question was.
Now you got to say it. You did it.
All right, I'll save it for the end now. I'll save it for the
And
end.
now they're gonna be
Um,
hyped up for
As
it.
a filmmaker, I feel sometimes, especially now that I'm very critical of my own work and try to think about movies, I feel like a lot of movies have been like low-key kind of ruined in the sense of like something that I originally would have been like, oh, this is okay. I'm kind of like, I've seen this method done so many times. This is just lazy
Yeah.
and shitty. Is that kind of
Yeah.
like that with you, with animation
Yes.
or just stories in general?
Yes, 100%. It's easier for some movies than others, you know, like if I'm trying to make a certain type of, because I'm trying to make a certain type of story, so I'm more critical of movies that are that simple, you know, like it's harder for me to judge a super artsy film because I haven't seen a lot of them to compare.
Yeah.
But I've seen enough sort of simple plots and their effectiveness using methods to, I guess, determine what's overused and uninspired sometimes. But talking about movies makes a lot of people miserable, you know, so I try not to.
Why, in the sense of like how critical you are, or
A lot of people I know are like, I enjoyed the movie, therefore it was good. If you criticize it, you're just gonna make me sad. It's like, oh, yeah,
Oh.
fair enough.
Yeah.
it's a good thing I
Like,
don't know them.
Oh, right.
Oh,
the
I
people
know
that
too
tie-
many. And, you know, they're like, oh, you're overanalyzing it. You're looking too deep into it. I had fun. That's all that matters. It's like, well, okay, but I didn't have fun.
Well, there's a lot of
so-
people that tie their
fuck
self-worth
you.
into the things
Yeah.
they like, and so like if you don't like them or you say they're bad,
Yeah.
to them that's like you're saying they're bad, and they just can't take that.
Oh,
I
no.
know, it's so dumb, but yeah.
I'm
I
getting
don't, yeah.
I'm getting triggered because literally the most awkward conversation I've had with a stranger in my life was this guy, like, he was like hungry, he needed money, and I gave him some money to buy chips, and he decided to chat with me afterwards, and he went on a long ass rant about how much he loves Batman versus Superman, and I was just like,
you should have just taken the
I-
chips back.
I was being polite, but I was struggling. I was like, ooh, yeah, I don't
Why
know.
did you
I'm not a
say
huge fan
that?
of that one. I don't know. He was a huge like DC nerd. It was intense.
I was talking to a friend who was like, have you seen Bright? Have you seen the movie Bright
No,
on
but
Netflix?
Yeah,
I've heard
I've seen
things
bits of
about
it.
it.
I couldn't watch
well,
the whole thing.
Now, Bright is like a super obvious metaphor for racism.
Yeah.
This person really, really liked it, and didn't know it was a metaphor for racism. And when I pointed it out, the fact that it was, and the fact that the director said it was, and the fact that everybody ever on planet Earth has said it was a metaphor for racism, they told me I was overanalyzing it and that I should calm down. And that tells me that a lot of people who watch movies just sort of switch their brain off and let the images fly into their head, and they're like, yeah, that's good.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. I'm sure someone will in the comments, but Bright was the screenplay for Bright was written by Max Landis, who has actually written an SCP for the wiki.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't know which
Yeah.
one. Do
Yeah,
you know
it's
which
the
one?
forensic ghost of Tupac Shakur.
See,
Oh.
that one's
Yeah.
funny. Like, I don't get it.
Also, he has since been.
Sim is about to go
Also, he has.
thermonuclear.
No, actually, I like the SCP, although I will mention he has also since been banned from the SCP Wiki due to his sexual harassment stuff that goes on. Yeah.
Well, okay.
We'll just leave that right there.
Spicy.
Author is dead.
Long live the author. Yeah, he also did what? Suicide
I
Squad?
don't think so.
Oh yeah, I think he worked on it. I don't think he wrote it, but I think he was like helping out on the script. He tends to like jump into a project and then either get fired or leave the project.
Yeah, from what I've read about him, he seems like a very
Commit
very
sexual
manipulative
assault.
kind of person.
Yeah.
Then again, that's just what I've read, so like.
Oh.
Who knows? I remember this is way before me and Jake knew of the kind of man Max Landis was, where we're like, hey, we're making a live action web series. This is before we even like started the channel. We should like, if we do well, get in contact with Max Landis and see if we can like collab.
No, I remember we were talking like, oh yeah, let's look into collaboration, and
yeah, that went well.
Now, this isn't my first time hearing about it, but I do constantly forget that this happened. So, whoops.
Let's change the topic. I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, this I actually do have a topic. Not really a topic, but continuing off, minus that, I don't know, us going off the road. Tangent, that's what I'm looking for. Do you know Your Movie Sucks? I feel like for me personally, he's my favorite critic. If you really want like in-depth, hardcore, like view on like the like to me, I like how if it's a good movie, it's like a 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's not
To
a
be
10 out of
clearly
10.
clear, when you said your
appreciate
movie
him.
sucks, I was like, I don't
Yeah.
have a movie. What do you?
Yeah, it's a YouTuber. Yeah. His name's Adam.
I'll admit I love.
But anyway, check it out.
I love Red Letter Media.
I don't know. I forget.
Oh,
I
they're
can't
great,
get
yeah.
over them.
I like them too.
They're not. I know they're not right, but they're just
There's
so
too
entertaining.
much.
I watched them for a different reason.
To me, I feel like
They're just more casual.
This is ironic coming from me, considering my channel focus, but I feel like there's too much criticism of films these days. Like, nobody ever just sits down and enjoys anything anymore. They always got to sit there and list off every single plot point they think doesn't work.
Well, I'm not actively trying to jab it when I'm watching it. It's more of like something emotionally bothers me and then I respond to that, you know? I'm not like
It could be that there are just like more shit coming out.
I
you
say
know?
all
Like,
those
that's-
things, but then
that's
Suicide
possible
Squad
as well.
came out and like, yeah.
and many more.
I mean, yeah,
It's
but
not the only
DC's got a
tragedy.
good track record of making really bad movies recently, so it's easy to just pick on them.
So does
Yeah,
Netflix.
but the Netflix stuff is probably a lower quality control. Like,
They just do so much
yeah,
of it.
they're bound. Yeah, when you
They just
make, and
spam
plus
the
they
shit
make
out
some
of
really
it.
good stuff along the way. So you have a scattershot approach. Eventually, you're gonna make some really good stuff, award-winning stuff, and then you're gonna make some really crappy stuff too.
Well, I'm just really interested about the whole streaming bubble
Oh,
now
for
that every
fuck's
single
sake.
channel wants their own streaming
That's so
network.
annoying. Like the way the industry is
Mhm.
going. Like everyone was like, "Hey, we're gonna have to. It's gonna be like cable. It's good." You know where streaming was able to get rid of cable for
fact
the
that-
longest time. You know, you pay $10, whatever, you could watch everything on one service. Not anymore. You're gonna need to pay about a
Nope.
cable's bill worth of money to get all the stuff you want. And there's so much good stuff out there
Bargain.
too. Like, I didn't even expect this, but the DC streaming thing,
Oh,
Doom Patrol is fucking amazing. And I'm like, now I gotta what? I gotta pay for a DC subscription every year or so I can watch the season.
You know,
Yeah, I'm
Pirate
not.
Bay exists.
One.
Whoa. Jake, hey,
Hold
wait a
on.
minute.
Whoa.
You realize everyone, like, okay, our fans, whatever. We're all content creators. Every
Look.
single one of us.
Yeah, but I released my stuff. Look, Pirate Bay is saved series, so that's why I don't feel
guys,
bad
you can
about
always
it.
pirate Forlorn Foundry material.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not applicable to us as YouTubers, but like, still.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh
but
wait.
yeah, it's like, yeah, we're gonna have to pay like $60, probably $70 worth of subscriptions to watch all the stuff we want to watch.
Or you could just flip between each service, which I won't even do. But I think a bunch of them are gonna flop, and 90% of the stuff on them are gonna
And
probably
plus,
suck.
like, any
so.
intelligent person would just run a bunch of trials, you know, like the DC subscription thing. Wait for the series to be completed, and then just take a free trial and watch it all at once.
I have a legitimate question though.
Okay.
How is YouTube Red still a thing?
I
Like who does that? Who watches that?
I don't know. I mean,
well,
they're
I mean,
there.
the thing is, like, there could be one really good show on YouTube Red, and then
Right.
that'll be
Well,
your excuse
hold on.
for getting it.
Cobra Kai.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, my housemate likes Minefield, starring Vsauce,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
hates
yeah,
everything
yeah, yeah.
else. So yeah,
From
he
what I
has YouTube Red
understand,
for that
Cobra
reason.
Kai is actually
guess
really
I'm
good. So,
So stingy.
Who?
The idea of buying a service just
Depends
for
on
one
the
show is like impossible for me. But
I mean,
you know,
Game of Thrones
yeah,
laughs at you.
Game of Thrones is one of them. Like I got another month
Yeah.
of HBO just so I could watch Chernobyl. So
That's actually pretty.
right,
pretty
yeah,
worth
I
it.
was like,
crazy.
yeah, this is worth $15.
That's how they get you. They keep making good stuff, and you're like, oh.
don't worry. But yeah, I mean, I'm really hyped. I'm not really hyped. I'm kind of hyped for Watchmen. I'm a little nervous though about it.
I have an Amazon Prime.
hope it's good.
I decided to just
The new HBO series.
go out and get the year's worth of Amazon Prime, so I'm gonna be able to at least watch stuff there. But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just because
Although I hear literally Man in the High Castle is the only good show on,
We'll see.
on
They've got-
Prime. Although I don't know how true it is, but
I know it was good at some point. I don't know if it's still
they've
good.
got
I still
two,
haven't
they've
watched
got some
Oh,
shows I
sure,
want to
yeah.
watch for sure. I've got Man in the High Castle, maybe. I'm not sure I'm ever gonna get around to that because I read the short story way back when I was in school.
well, season 3 got a little fucky, but
But they
I
also
still
have-
enjoyed it overall. Maybe because I just like the premise.
Did they take on The Expanse? I think it was. Somebody did. One of the streaming services. Okay, so it was Amazon.
Yeah, they did actually.
Yep.
So we got The Expanse.
forgot about that.
Still need to keep watching that.
that.
Yeah, I'm still stuck in
There's two
season
other
1.
shows. Oh, The Boys.
Get over
The
the
Boys
hump.
is going to be on Amazon, and so was Glad Tidings, which looks like
Oh,
it's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
look. It's already out actually, but it looks like it's really good.
Well, supposedly Mrs. Maisel.
Well,
is
yeah,
pretty
like
good.
won
I was
some
an
awards
extra on that,
recently.
but I think my mom watches it.
So yeah, Amazon's got some good stuff. We can say that much.
I got Amazon Prime just so I could watch American Gods.
Oh yeah, I should probably watch that actually because the second season.
The only thing I know about
Some
it
good shit.
is that scene where like the dude gets obliterated by arrows.
Then yeah, I've seen that. Then
Oh
again,
yeah, that's
they
fun.
lost
only
Kristen Chenoweth and Jillian Jacob. No, that's not. Is that her name? Anderson. I'm thinking of a
Gillian
different
Anderson,
actress.
yeah.
Yeah, they lost those for the season 2 though, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, but they managed to.
Sure,
They
but I mean,
managed to
like, I
reason out of
remember
it.
watching some of. I didn't watch all of season 1 yet, but I remember watching it, and them two were kind of highlights. They were like really good in their roles.
Yeah, they were really, really good. So yeah, that's.
You got to come back from urinating,
Sorry.
going. Ugh.
Ugh.
Look,
That was
it's been a
that
long
felt good.
day.
Not enough people grown, you know.
I mean, yeah,
You
do
gotta
it.
grown more
Maybe
often.
do it on your own times. All
I
I'm
know.
saying.
This is my time.
You've streamed with me, Saran. You shouldn't be surprised.
That's true. I'm not surprised. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't just take your laptop into the bathroom. To be honest with you.
You can't age if you act like you're 80s in your 80s right
That's
now.
the
you
thing.
know?
I fully embrace the standing up and sitting down, like grunting and groaning.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
I'm
do
23.
That, yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
God, you're 23. You're literally 10 years
They'll
younger.
never know.
We're little bads.
Oh, actually, I have a question for Bung.
Mhm.
You mentioned earlier that you're friends with that Canadian fellow. Did you guys meet before Super Science or like afterwards?
After.
Yeah. How do you? I mean, for our viewers, what's it like just meeting people that you're like a fan of their work?
It's fun, and then after I meet them, it's well, it gets really easy at some point, and it's not as fun anymore because I don't know. There's no magic there. Like they're not like a magical god on a mountain that I'm like, they're just another person. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, they're cool. They're not like boring bad people. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. I miss being a fan, like a fan, where I had to work really hard to get attention. I don't know. Is that weird? I don't know.
It's
Never meet your heroes.
Yeah, exactly. Never meet
Yeah.
your heroes because
They'll never be as good as
yeah.
They'll never be as good as they were in your head, unless they're like
Exactly.
Mr. Rogers or something.
yeah.
I mean, that's why there's literally some people I literally never want to meet for the exact reason.
Yeah,
Max
yeah.
Landis.
Never want to meet Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Bruh.
I think
Keanu, yeah. I mean,
you'll
for
just
me, it's like
disappoint
Psychic
Keanu,
Pebbles, Bunny and G.
Oh man, I never want to meet Kevin Spacey. I hope nothing bad happens to him.
No.
Wait, what? Hold up.
What the hell?
Oh man, I'm just thinking that really creepy.
I never want to
video he
meet
made
Kevin
for House of
Spacey either,
Cards.
but for different reasons.
Mario Batali made an apology cupcake.
Oh yeah. Oh
He's
my
like, here's
God.
a recipe for a cupcake. Sorry that I did the thing.
I heard it wasn't even a
No,
good
it
recipe.
sucked. Someone made it, and they're like,
Ugh.
this cupcake is dry and shitty, just like his apology.
Oh, man.
Seldomly are gifts as appropriate as that.
Remember Danimals? Like that was a thing.
No, I've never
Oh,
heard
yeah,
of
It's
it.
not
wait.
a thing anymore. Yeah. Is that a thing in Australia? There's a kangaroo on it. No? Damn.
It's like a flavored
sense.
yogurt beverage that comes in a criminally tiny bottle.
Fucking Go-Gurt. Man, Go-Gurt was the shit.
Man.
Just 90s kids.
You know, this
You're
seg-
talking about like criminally small portions. Why don't they make a bigger Capri Suns? All I'm saying.
I think it's fine where it is.
we gotta have.
Screw you.
Where's the Capri solar system? You know, we gotta start expanding. I want a gallon of Capri Sun, Capri Universe. I'll chug it.
Pre-Terra.
I'll chug it.
There's
and
no other
pass
way to
out.
buy it. You just, as far as I know, you just can get it in like the little packages, and that's
It's a
it.
pouch. That's it. You don't need more.
Unacceptable.
Were block parties ever a thing where you grew up, Bung?
Block parties.
It's like where your entire street would have like a party.
Yeah, you all play
In
like
the street.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
It's like it's definitely not a thing in America anymore. I'm just like
In some places it is. The same
I
places
guess,
where they
yeah.
leave their doors unlocked and shit.
Going outside is not a thing in America anymore. In fact, I was watching or reading some stories from people who like were jailed in the 80s or 90s and then got out in the mid 2000 teens, and they're like, how come no one's like in the parks anymore?
Everyone
Like,
was,
there's
actually-
still kids out there, but like not as nearly as many as there used to be.
I mean I kind of love it.
everyone will refer to that one moment. Like people are gonna look back at it. They're already looking back at it. There was that one moment of like pure bliss and like happiness on Earth when Pokemon Go came out, where
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
was showing up in parks. I remember like we gathered the squad
That's
at gyms.
true,
We were
yeah.
all walking around. We were in the
Yeah, I
park. We were
remember.
like, "Yo, there's a gym
It was
at
a
the
good
9/11
time.
memorial. Whoa, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fight this guy."
Yeah, I remember meeting people like for the first time and like becoming somewhat friendly with them, but I only ever saw them out at Pokemon when I was Pokemon going, and I didn't like exchange information or get to know them.
My brother still plays it.
I do
that
too.
means
Still on
anything.
my phone.
Shout out to Frankie.
I barely play. it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Man, this kind of leads into another thing I was thinking up before when we were talking about kind of how making content can kind of affect your perspective on, I guess, consuming content now. There's something I wonder about pretty frequently, which is like how important was like nostalgia in how important is it in like affecting things? Because like I think back to the things that I find to be like my favorite, and they happened, I consumed the media, games or movies or whatever at a very specific time in my life, and I'm wondering how attached to that time are these things. Is it really was it really so good? Is it possible to capture that kind of like wonder again? I go into movies now and it's so cynical. It's hard to do. I don't know.
I think that might just come with age, and you're just gonna have to. It's like drugs. You have to find harder stuff.
Oh man.
Is that your advice to your listeners?
Okay, well, I don't know. It seems like nostalgia is something that only some people get. It feels like, unless I just haven't found the right nostalgia yet. I did get a good sense of nostalgia when watching the new Bumblebee movie, because I used to watch Transformers, like the cartoons, as a kid. And I don't know if it really counts as nostalgia or I just thought it was really charming, but there are some things that I watch as a guilty pleasure because I associate it with a good time. So I think that counts as nostalgia. I'm not really sure what you meant by the question. Does it how it affects my work or how it affects my life?
Well, it's more of like, for me, it's hard. I try to look at some like things that I enjoyed in the past, and I try to see if I can divide the nostalgia from it and the actual like value it had as media. Like, did I just like? Is it really as good as I remembered it? It's those rose-tinted lenses, glasses.
Okay, I see what you mean. Well, I personally try and criticize films for things that are easier to put into words, so I don't really know, because nostalgia kind of falls into a bit of a gray zone of aesthetic and opinion. So, like, okay, let's, Treasure Planet wasn't a very good movie, but I remember really, really liking it as a kid. I think if I just got rid of the aesthetic, the steampunk aesthetic, and the nostalgia, you end up just having Treasure Island, except
crappier.
With like a weirder character decisions, weirder motives, oddly dark events mixed with this weirdly childish, I don't know, characters and story. It's weird. It's a weird decision to make.
It is
I
very
think I just
beautiful,
liked it as a
though.
kid because
I mean,
it was so strange.
The aesthetic is amazing. I always love the look of that.
It's
I have,
nice,
like-
nice steampunk.
I have an unspoken rule where I refuse to rewatch any childhood favorite film because I've ruined like 3 films already by rewatching.
Seriously? Because there's some that like I know like will stand up.
Unless I know they're great.
Like any of the
Unless
Ghibli
I know
stuff
they're
is
great.
like, oh yeah, I'll watch it 100 times.
Yeah,
I
like
don't
that's
care.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, I don't treasure my childhood that much, so I don't give a shit.
Also, like, if it's bad, it's bad. What's the difference? Like, you're not ruining
My
a memory.
memories
The
are
memory's
ruined.
still
No, it
there.
like
That-
kills it for me. It doesn't ruin my memories. It's just like, fuck. I don't know. I guess that is the memories.
Like if I watched Alien vs Predator or like Aliens 4, that would probably do it for me because as a kid I'm like, whoa, this is so cool.
Oh, yeah, I
Alien
love
fighting
AVP,
Predator. But
yeah.
now if I watch it, it's like, oh, kill me now.
Like I was kind of disappointed when I rewatched Ants. If people know how that.
Dude,
show
that was
works.
actually solid. So that's bullshit.
It's not bad,
No, you're,
but I
no,
remember.
Shut up. I rewatched
Look, I
it.
thought it was, like,
legitimately,
amazing
I
as
think
a
you rewatched
kid.
it because I rewatched
And
it.
it was just it was just okay.
No, the problem, the
Yeah.
problem with Ants is that it commits the one crime you can commit in a creative work. It is mediocre. Be bad or
Yeah.
be
Dude,
good.
I
Don't
wouldn't
be
call it that.
mediocre.
I think you guys are
think it was
blasting Ants
aight.
for no reason. I mean, like,
Like I thought the picnic scene was way longer than it actually was. It was so like tiny. Like Bug Utopia was like I was disappointed.
that's
thought
the
it
point,
was, like,
dude.
half
It's
the
not
movie.
supposed to be. Like, it was.
No, like I get that it's not supposed to be Utopia, but I thought
Spoilers
it was
to
a
Ants,
larger
by the way,
piece.
guys.
Yeah, I guess.
No.
Yeah,
That's with a
And
Z.
12 years late.
I've never personally I'm trying to think of something that I liked as a child that I don't like now, and I honestly can't think of anything. I'm sure there's something that I should not have liked and did, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
PBS had some really trippy shows. I didn't have cable growing up, so people make SpongeBob memes, and I kind of just stare at them.
James isn't
But,
with the times. He's not part of our generation. He's a poser.
No, like Arthur is my shit. But they had some really, I think they're called Weebles. These like weird, like giant puff cotton ball creatures it was supposed to be an English TV show, and that's like one of those series where it's like Teletubbies, where you're kind of like, what the fuck was I watching as a kid? You
It
know?
didn't have to make sense. It just had to look pretty, and they'd be like, ooh, ah, ooh, bah. And it's like, ah, yeah, I love this shit.
But I don't know, like Teletubbies is like impregnated itself into my conscious. 'cause,
Teletubbies
like,
has impregnated James's consciousness.
no,
That
like
is an
there are multiple
unfortunate
times where I've made a
choice.
smoothie and I'm like, this is the fucking slime from Teletubbies, and it's like, can I eat
Sorry,
this now?
I'm just imagining a child listening to ooh ah and saying, yeah, I love that shit.
Dude, that's how it was.
Yeah, that shit's awesome.
Man,
Turn that up. Turn up Ubi.
Oobies.
my
I think
Ubi
that was the
boys
show. No, I think that was the show. Yeah.
Wait, what? What do you mean the show? Ubi was it was the hand. They just put like googly eyes on a dude's hand, and he's like, I'm Ubi. You're Grandpa. I'm Grandpa.
Fuck.
man,
Circle
I have
people.
no idea what
I
you're
don't know how to
talking
search
about,
this
but
kind of
I'm
concept.
throwing
okay
up
with
gang
that.
signs.
Oh god, Ubi throws a gang sign and gets blasted. Season finale, very sad.
Furry balls. Fuck. What am I doing?
Oh,
I found it. I found it. I literally typed in PBS furry balls, and Booba is the show.
Oh,
yeah.
yo,
Jesus
Booba. No.
Christ.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah,
Oh,
Booba.
you meant Booba.
Yes.
Dude, you should have said Booba. You didn't know that?
Booba. No, I didn't know that.
Ah,
The furry balls.
Booba.
That's how Google defines it.
Booba. Oh my
Man.
god, dude. That was the shit.
That was horrifying, man.
Okay, one show I made the mistake of rewatching briefly was Caillou, because I loved Caillou as a kid. But holy fuck, is he annoying?
I think my nephew watches that.
Yeah, it's still on.
I guess either that or he's got it on DVD, because I know my nephew has said Caillou a couple of times. Like, I want to watch Caillou.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I guess here you go, but because I'll put it on for him sometimes, and he'll be like, "Yay!" and he'll sit down and watch it. But I've never.
Sorry, I just had a eureka moment. So I'm like into long Furbies. That was the dumbass question I was gonna ask Bung. Is like, what's your opinion on Furbies? Long Furbies. I think it has to relate to some like deep-seated trauma of watching Boobas as a child or something.
That's bullshit.
She's
Yeah.
Nah.
I just
What's
I don't
the
know. I watched a
trauma?
lot
There's
of
no
weird
trauma.
stuff. Not trauma.
You don't understand what
being-
you're looking at when you're a kid. You're like, oh yeah.
Exact- No, I think that's kind of like what got me into a lot of like weird surrealist stuff
Booba.
growing up, though.
You're really gonna put
The
that much. You're
Boobas,
gonna put that much
Teletubby.
influence on
Look, they're formative
your
years.
TED talk when later
mean,
on when you're being interviewed by Criterion.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the abstract surrealism that
Yeah.
we entertained with our channel came from a little relic.
I don't think Booba is the cause, but it is a symptom.
Yeah,
There we go.
it's not the sole reason.
Something
but it
existed
is-
in
I
your
feel like
mind.
it
I
added
think
to it.
wanting to see Booba, if you see your kid wanting to see Booba, like, I like this show, it
Mhm.
means they will like more crazy shit later.
Yeah.
You think there
Well,
was?
now you've blown your
Fuck
load
cyber
on that
kids.
weird question.
Yeah.
So now what else we got?
I mean, it wasn't really a question. I mean, do you know Long Furbies? If you don't, you should check it out. It's a fun time.
Yeah, long
Yeah.
phobia is good.
There we go.
It's quality content.
That was the
you
first
go.
question that he had. He just was hiding.
I still
until
find it.
now.
It's
I
been
still
on my
find it
mind.
funny
a lot,
that
I'm not
I
gonna
still
lie.
find it funny that you guys plan your questions.
No, just in general. Not for Bung, but yeah.
Is that just a question
I just
you're gonna
watched
ask to
Confinement, and I'm
every
like, I have to
creator?
ask this man. You know.
Yeah, I just watched Confinement. And I'm
Definitely.
like, God damn, there's no way he doesn't know about long Furbies. There's no way. I've seen like 2 hints already. I see him in the background.
Oh my god. It's come to the point I'm not gonna do it, but I'm tempted to write an SCP involving long Furbies, like a joke one. But
Neither of you have actually written an
I don't know.
SCP yet.
I
right?
did, and it
Yeah,
was
I know,
shot
we're
down, and I
frauds.
stopped. I was 13. No, no, I was a young man, and I couldn't take the criticism. I found a cool picture of like
It's
a
probably
suit of
Sumerian
armor.
that shot
Yeah,
it down.
he was blasting me.
Oh,
Oh
No,
man, you
they
should look up that draft. I could use some fuel for my harsh critique series.
There was actually some writing I did when I was a little younger, not too much younger, 2012. So I'm not gonna. But it was I had like come up with a character that like floated around in a helicopter, and they were like, he's a diplomat. He won't ever attack anyone, and his helicopter was super defended. They did that by I wrote the armor on it is superheated. So if anything shoots it, it just melts. And if you shoot a rocket at it, it melts the rocket before it can explode. And this was in a forum setting, and it was immediately like attacked and destroyed. They were doing character assassination. They were just calling me a doofus. They were calling me a young child, which I was.
Oh.
And it was very
Yeah.
rough. They made memes about me and posted it.
really,
And I'm like,
Wow.
I cannot take this abuse. And
Yeah, you
I
deserved
love
it
that.
though.
no, dude, I was exercising my writing chops. I'm like, the boy can melt rockets. That's all
It's
good.
like I always tell people. You can't be a good writer until you're a bad writer for a very long time.
you can't be a
will
good
say,
writer. It's like I always
when-
tell people.
when
you
I-
can't write.
when like. It's exactly the opposite. I was gonna say is, when I have young voice actors or young artists like make stuff, I try not to be like, oh shit, blah blah blah. I try to critique them on a softer level, I guess, because I've been there. You know, I get like when you're a kid. I mean, even now, but especially when you're a kid, those things are very sensitive and can really.
You can always do the
crush your
criticism
dreams.
sandwich where you say something nice about it, then the then the more sensitive stuff, and then something nice again.
Yeah,
And that-
exactly.
that
It's
works.
just what
Yeah, when I give
doctors.
people,
It's what
Classic.
It's what doctors do with a shot. You know, they're like, "Oh, look at the bunny, look at the bunny." Then they fucking stab you, and then they're like, "Oh no, ignore that. No, look at the bunny." Again."
when I give legitimately when I give critique to new writers, I do try to make it like I try to find something that they can latch onto to like work on, rather than just saying this is all terrible, go home, which is like the worst thing you can. And like, there's a lot of shit crit out there where people go like, make it longer. Like, what the fuck kind of critique is that? And it happens from really experienced authors on the wiki sometimes too. So it's not just it's sad to see that happens, because it really disheartens the people, because they don't know how to deal. Like, you're giving them critique that doesn't help them. So shut the fuck up.
Well, there's constructive criticism. Yeah, it's
Make
good
it
when you do it. Make it longer. I mean, that's kind of like a compliment in a way, maybe, because it's like, hey, I like it. Give me more.
Well, yeah, but like it's usually given when like say plot points are unresolved or characters doesn't reach a full arc, and they're like, just make it longer and finish that arc off, or make it longer and finish the plot off. And I'm like, no, stop being stupid. Okay, go into your draft and take the parts out that don't get finished. Shorten it. Don't make it longer.
Actually, I have a question.
Tighten things up.
Now for Bung. Have you ever had kind of experiences? Have you ever had experiences that really kind of discouraged you creatively, or has people kind of always been kind of supportive?
Oh, yeah, a lot. Yeah, because this is a passion project, if I'm not feeling good, then I'm not gonna work for a few hours. So, yeah, it happens every now and then. I see a particularly mean comment, or I see some, I don't know, my friends being upset about something, or people are just being shitty. If I see shitty shit in the world, it makes me sad, and I don't really want to do work while I'm sad, because then I'll be salty, and then I'll rush, and then I'll, do some dumb shit. So, yeah, I try to stay off the internet. I'm trying to stay off the internet more now, just like because I see a lot of mean shit everywhere.
Kinda hard to avoid it these days.
So hear that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hear that, Terror in the Sheets 49? You're the reason why confinement is so late.
I thought you were gonna say that. Hear that, terrorist, like the one.
Hear that, terrorist
the one
149.
No.
The one thing stopping confinement is ISIS.
Well, from what you just described, you said shitty things happening in the world too. So
Yeah, like, oh no, ISIS destroyed a temple in Sudan. Ah, fuck.
Are we gonna get that meme where it's
fuck.
like showing like a chart going like into a steep decline, where it's just like ISIS crime stopped dramatically after Bung reveals deep disappointment in them.
Bung solves the ISIS problem. Yes.
World peace achieved.
Yeah. Basically.
I'm not making another episode of Confinement until the Middle East peace process is finished.
I think that's the promise they made with Half-Life 3
Next
as well.
day.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, that one
See
hurts.
how well
too.
that went?
Hurts. Never mind.
yeah.
Aye,
Speaking of tragedies,
my boy Gordon.
that's actually Portal and Half-Life really got me into SCP stuff, because I kind of found out about SCP stuff around the same time I got into Portal 2, and then like I don't know, it just kind of really was like, this is kind of the same thing.
I'll tell you,
a
Black
lot of ways.
Mesa is a really good foundation. In a way, you look at it, it's super like the men of science,
Yeah.
and it's just it's sick. I also love the aesthetic of it. I guess it's something like a snapshot from the '90s. It's
A big thing for me is the BPRD in Hellboy.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. No, let's not talk about the new Hellboy though.
Oh no, God no.
I mean, why would we?
don't talk about it. You brought it up. We weren't gonna go there, James.
What am I doing? What am I
We
doing?
weren't gonna do that.
As far as
man.
we're concerned, that doesn't exist. Like,
Honestly, I was about to. Fuck, I have to say, Guillermo del Toro disappoints me. Look, Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth are amazing, but everything else has just been like, I don't know, it just can't live up to that.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim's like fun,
fun.
but it's not. It's nothing compared to those other two movies.
I
Specifically
didn't even
Pan's
really
Labyrinth.
like Guillermo's Hellboy that much.
Really?
No.
I love the
The
aesthetic.
costumes are
of it.
really nice. Yeah. I really like the costumes because he's really good at designing like the.
There's definitely weak story elements to it though.
I mean, the only
yeah,
good thing
like the
I found
story's
about
not so great.
the only good thing I saw about that was Ron Perlman. That's about it.
There we go.
Yeah, no. He's
Yeah,
pretty
people
great.
love him.
Mr. Fallout himself.
War never changes.
He was in Fallout.
Yeah, he's a narrator.
He's the guy
Wow.
that does the War Never Changes narration. He also shows up a couple of different ways in later things. But yeah,
He's at the end of
voiced
Vegas telling you how
something-
bad you were.
he
Talking about another
voices
thing that
something in
died.
every game, I think. Yeah, he did the intro for Fallout 1 and 2. I think he does something in Fallout 3. I know he shows up in New Vegas to give the epilogue. And he's like the news presenter in Fallout 4 at the very beginning.
Oh, speaking of games, have you ever thought or considered down the road making or working on a video game? No.
Okay.
I feel that.
I'm not really a gamer, so like I wouldn't
No.
know
Oh no.
how
Not a
to do
programmer.
that.
Sub count falling.
Somebody would have to approach
Yeah.
me and be like,
Yeah, I
and
feel
then-
like your art style and like the world you've kind of set up, even though it is an extant world in the SCP Foundation, but the version you have set up would be good for maybe like a point and click adventure.
You know, I was
game or
actually
something.
literally just thinking that as you were talking. I'm like, yo, is he gonna say point and click? And you said it because the boy can just die, you know, because you clicked the wrong thing, and it completely makes sense. You just keep going. That's the whole shtick with point
yeah,
and click.
it'll have like the challenges would have to be puzzle based and not so much life threatening, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and like you die in order to get around certain puzzle things. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
That's a cool concept. Yeah.
Just keep dying in the pit. It takes about 1 hour of playtime, but the bodies eventually allow you to walk over.
Not an original concept because I remember that from Planescape Torment. But yeah, it would be a neat like singular focus for a very simple game.
Yeah. Someone make it happen.
I wanted to ask, so you're a motivational based, I guess, writer and creator, you know, based on your feelings, your motivation, your mood, that determines kind of what you can output.
Yeah.
How does like hype affect you? Hype, you know, excitement kind of swelling around the anticipation of a creation, you know, episode 7.
Oh, do you mean hype from fans?
Hype from fans, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because I'm not a very positive person, unfortunately, the guilt associated with not working is a much louder voice in my head than the positive feeling of the nice fans. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you do fall
Yeah.
into that little. I've seen this before with creative types, especially writers on the wiki. Do you fall into the circle of despair where like not finishing it makes you not want to finish it?
Sometimes. Yeah. I mean, well, no, actually. I think it's more like I am working on it, and if I'm going to quit, I will tell everybody that I will. But I have to be pushed to like a seriously stressed point to quit something like that. Or I have to find something better to do. I don't know, but I can't not be creating is the point, you know? I have to be creating something, otherwise I'm bored and I really don't like being bored.
ABC, always be creating.
Yeah.
I think the wording in your recent video in the beginning, you had a few messages to say. You were saying that like you may have noticed like the quality of my animations have gotten better. That's the guilt. You said it was like the guilt of kind of the delay that pushed you to actually like make things more detailed.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, it's obviously not a positive voice that's, you know, making you do that.
No, but whenever this is a reflection of obviously my negativity, but I feel like if I use really positive terminology, it would sound fake somehow. It would sound disingenuous if I was like, if I said something like, I'm working hard for you guys, I feel like I'm guilt tripping people, you know what I mean? So if I say like, but I genuinely do feel guilty for not, even though I don't owe anybody anything, I do feel guilty not working.
Right, so the
I don't know.
good middle ground there is to guilt trip people, but then give them your Patreon link right after.
Yeah. Yeah, but I try and keep like an open communication between me and at least the people who financially support me, at least, because they definitely need to know. They deserve to know. So that way they can decide what to do. You know, like if I'm like, all right, well, this is taking longer than I thought. It might not come out this month. It might come out next month. I would say something like, you don't have to support me for this month if you don't want to. I totally understand. But as long as they know, then that's all that matters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really in it for the money, but I do need the money to pay rent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to be scummy. I don't want to be shitty about it.
You can definitely be successful and not be a douchebag. So.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
you can?
I don't want to...
shit.
Sorry, Sim. Man.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't know, I mean, I don't know if I've ever unconsciously been a douchebag, but I really don't want to, just because that's not a... Being a douchebag is a lot of responsibility. Surprisingly. It looks like it, at least.
In what way?
You gotta
In a
play on
way.
that line. You can't go too far over, obviously.
It's like... I don't know. I don't have the fortitude to be mean, because if I'm mean, I'm basically inviting other people to be mean back. And I am a very fragile person, so I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know? I don't want that life.
Yeah.
I just want to be, I guess, friendly or quiet. Like, either friendly or quiet, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, a kind of a dream that me and Jake have had, and I don't think it can ever be fulfilled, is just like this idea of like a community of creators. I mean, that's basically why we started up this podcast with Logan and Sim, where it's like everyone can kind of get together and like have a good time.
Also, the whole point of
And-
this mysterious server that no one knows about.
Yes, and the mysterious server.
I don't think it's unachievable. I really think it is something that can be possible.
Well, I'm saying like there will always be people that you can only reach so many people, etc. You can only make it so big before a certain point you have to kind of clamp the gates down.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'll say the whole thought process behind that, the whole thing that's kind of in my noggin, is that, you know, there's something beautiful specifically about SCP, like as a universe, and the fact that no one can claim pure ownership. As much as they'll try, they can't. And because of that, like,
Yeah.
their competition is it. In some regards, it's there, of course, but there's a lot more that people can collaborate and work on together without like huge amounts of stress that this person's gonna steal it, you know, they're gonna do this. People are gonna be particularly loyal to the content you make if you're making good content. You're gonna have the people who follow you and support you kind of wherever you go. And I mean,
And we're all kind of fans of each other's stuff, too.
absolutely. I well, maybe he's not a fan of our stuff, but
Yeah.
it's yeah, I think everyone kind of admires what everyone's doing, especially, you know, everyone's doing something a little bit different, a little unique.
I feel like our community, at least the community of YouTube creators, is I think we may have lucked out, because I've seen, like, say, the artist community surrounding the SCP Foundation are very angry at each other all the time, because like they do feel like there's some serious competition, or they look at somebody else's art that they personally think is not as good, and then they get mad that they get popular, they get mad that they get commissions. So it's like the artist community I've seen, they hate each other. So the idea that the YouTube creator community, it doesn't have the same, this SCP creator community I should say, doesn't have the same problem is quite nice.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's a few things that I think are factoring into it. I think, you know, it is still niche. You know, we have like our superstars, but like our superstars are, you know, not too big compared to like, you know, YouTube's like their pantheon. But for
And there's
the
not that many of
community,
us either.
for the community, it really is it's a lot smaller and more tight knit, I'd say. And there's a lot of, you can take whatever you want from it. There's people who, again, they're in it like significantly for the writing. That's kind of their focus. There's the art, and then kind of the stuff we do is it's a mix of everything. Putting videos.
I will
out there.
say, even though like the whole community idea is like what I really like, it's totally fine for people. I get some creators, they just want to do their own thing and they don't want to collab or be in a big party just because of a seclusive nature or whatever reason, and that's fine.
Everybody's process is different too, so.
Yeah, you've got different
exactly.
work processes. You have different motivations for being, in the community, doing what you're doing. It's hard to get everyone on the same page, but it's just, I think you get a bunch of people together and you're bound to make a lot of fans happy.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been begging for this episode, and
The 100 comments.
And
maybe
now
like 30,
we
but
have delivered.
Yeah.
we will have delivered trademark
Hell
at
yeah.
some point.
No, we have delivered now.
We-
At this point,
have
this
we?
is already out. They're listening to it
Play-
right
Oh,
now.
oh.
Plays Avengers music.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Understand
Hey, meta.
the timeline, motherfucker.
Oh God.
That's true. Got him. All right, so we're about to hit 2-hour mark. I think we should wrap this baby up.
All right.
Well, I'll say, I'll just throw it out there. As you said, you're not perhaps the most positive person. And, James and I, again, as we've looked at like different comments amongst our stuff, it's hard to let the positive kind of affect you. It's strange, you just kind of gloss over it. But I do have to say that the content that you've made and what you've done for the community, I think, is incredibly significant. And it's really great what you did and what you continue to do. Regardless, that alone, it stands alone as just something fantastic that you've done.
Like, the fact that I've seen SCP Creator in a Vsauce 2 video, like, blew my mind. That was just, like, insane for me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure having you on.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be on.
Do you have anything you want to shout out or let the people know about? Just leave it at that. Yeah.
Well, I think we're gonna release this podcast around the same time.
Wait.
Whoa.
Wait. If Rocket Man is still in cinemas, please go give them your money and watch it, because I don't like that Bohemian Rhapsody got more views.
That's a
It
very
won't be,
specific
but
shout out, but
You can
that's good.
rent it out on Amazon or something.
Yeah,
right?
go please buy
Yeah.
Rocket Man, because fuck, Bohemian Rhapsody sucked. And Rocket Man was so good. And people aren't going to see Rocket Man because they already see a Bohemian Rhapsody, and that's so unfortunate.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, that's my
Shout out Elton John. What's up?
Shout out to Elton John. He really needs it.
All right, so next episode
hurting.
will be Elton John and Bung.
We got Elton
with,
John on the next episode.
Yeah.
Right, yep. We're going out, we're building it up
We
there.
actually got Freddie, Mercury on the next
Oh my
one.
god.
Wow, yeah. Who wants to live forever indeed?
I smeared some like gel on his body, and now he's back for the podcast, folks. No book club this time.
Anyway, yeah, no book club
No
this
book
time.
club.
We're probably not. I don't think we're going to do the book club anymore. Is that, we decided
should we
that,
kill
right?
the book club? Let
Kill
us
the
know
book
in the
club.
comments
Comment.
below.
No,
Take
no.
Take him to the curb.
Let's make the arguments for and against. So we should get rid of it because
sweating.
I don't like it. Do you have any arguments for keeping it?
What do you like?
Not a whole lot of stuff.
Sure. All right. Peace out, peoples. It was
Right.
a good time.
Peace.